without fighting or a hunger here at all. Every minute, every hour, there's a call to make a brighter day. From the cradle we are shown only affection. It's so easy to forget from where we came. So look inside your soul, you'll see that you're my brother. Can we find a way to make a brighter day? Does it take a miracle to get the world to change? Just a little peace and love, we'll always find a way. Does it take a hurricane to get the world to change? Find a way to make a brighter day.
Good evening, everyone. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm great, Rudy.
Excellent.
Good evening, and thank you so much for inviting me onto your show. It's not every day that you get the chance to speak on the radio, and I thank you for that. I'd also like to thank a very special couple that introduced us to each other, and that is Raffaella and Chris. So hi, Raffaella and Chris.
Great. They really rate you very highly.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
Right, so a bit about Colin Roy. He's a singer, songwriter, actor, producer. Colin has worked extensively in London's West End theatre after being spotted by the casting director of The Lion King and beginning his international music career sharing the stage with Shaggy. An outstanding singer with a brilliant, velvety, smooth voice that easily transitions from jazz and swing to Motown and soul, R&B, pop, and current chart toppers. As an exceptionally experienced performer encompassing theatre, radio, television, and voiceover work, the headline act for various cruise companies as well as his own produced theatre shows. Colin Roy has received worldwide success. He's charismatic and immaculate in appearance with an impressive wardrobe. Colin Roy is constantly told by amazed audiences that he's not just a singer, he is the ultimate entertainer. With over 30 years in the music and theatre business, Colin has established a professional bespoke entertainment service that has been successfully operating since its launch in 2006, performing at the most prestigious venues. The entertainment supplies both private and corporate events, large or small, including theatres, festivals, weddings, parties, award ceremonies, and charity galas. The list is endless. The entertainment covers small, intimate events on tracks to the dynamic Colin Roy Band, consisting of superbly talented musicians who play on the circuit for all the hit London West End shows, for artists such as Jules Holland, Gregory Porter, and all other top stars. From a trio to a big band, Colin Roy has a repertoire to rival the best. The best London West End shows include SoulTrain, Smokey Joe's Cafe, Sweet Charity, Hair's 25th anniversary, and Five Guys Named Moe, Hot Stuff, and the great The Harder They Come, to name a few. He's also into music production and songwriting. He has his own professional recording studio for music production, video recording, and editing, with facilities for high-end virtual shows and parties on Zoom and other platforms. Recordings include the cast album of the Nat King Cole musical review, the cast album of Hair, and Colin Roy Live in London. Colin Roy's song My Destiny was remixed by MOBO award-winning producers 5am and playlisted on Capital Radio, Kiss FM and Choice FM, receiving rave reviews in Blues and Soul magazine, DJ magazine and Touch magazine. He's done great work, including the soul sounds of the 90s compiled by Dr. Bob Jones, London Kiss FM radio. Some of his other releases include I Want You Back and Make a Brighter Day, which was recently premiered on Fresh FM Radio London. And all the presenters really love that song, Colin. And of course, that song is available on Apple Music and all major downloads. So that's my introduction of you.
Thank you so much for a warm and wonderful introduction, Rudy.
You've done very well, indeed.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
On your progression. So before we get into our dialogue, Colin, just tell us a bit about your family background.
My family are from the Windrush generation and came to England in the 60s and settled in West Hampstead.
Okay.
My father was an engineer and my mother was a nurse. And we had a really great family upbringing. Music has always been a big part of my life. I come from a musical family of 6, and singing and performing has brought me to be on some luxury cruise ships where I sailed the 7 seas around the world, got to visit mostly every country in the world, which is fantastic. And from working on the cruise ships, I then went into London West End Theatre, like you said in my little review there. So that's a little bit about me.
Great. So when did you realize that you had a flair to become a singer?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. And to answer that question, I would have to quote a story that my mother told. My mother would tell everybody this story that as a young boy growing up in West Hampstead, I'd be singing, dancing around the house. I'd be entertaining family and friends. And my mum actually said that she knew what I was going to become when I was 4 years old. She knew that I was going to be a singer from 4 years old. Now, I found it very hard to sort of take in that story because, you know, a lot of mums always put their children on a pedestal. So it was very hard for me to take that in. But the story became so popular that when I got married in the millennium, my brother, who was the best man at my wedding, he actually wrote it into his speech, into acceptance speech at my wedding. I thought, wow, you know, this is fantastic. But like I said, I couldn't really take that story in until about 7 years ago when my young niece was born, Amber Rose. Now, Amber, just like me, likes to sing and dance around the house. And every time the family visit Amber, we have to sit down for a half an hour showcase at least. You know, she likes to give us a showcase of what she's learned over the weeks. And so Amber and her mum and the family came to visit me at the house one evening. And, you know, like some kids, once they're out of their comfort zone, they sort of freeze and they can't really perform. And so, you know, I introduced Amber to my music room and I took her over to the piano and I said, Amber, you like to sing, don't you? She said, yes, I like to sing. And so what I did is I played the first 7 notes of a famous lullaby, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, on the piano. And to my amazement, this young 4-year-old girl, she picked up, sang the whole song in the same key that I played it in on the piano, in perfect pitch, with all the dance moves. And from that time, I knew that Amber was going to be an entertainer at the age of 4. And that was the same story that my mum, her grandma, used to tell us. So after that experience, yeah, I was a believer.
You understood.
I understood, yes.
Excellent. So you've kind of mentioned the beginning of your musical journey as it relates to your parents.
Yes, yes, yes.
How did they then inspire you further on in that journey?
My father really encouraged us to play music. He encouraged us to actually play an instrument. And years ago, when I was about, I can't remember being 4 actually, and the stories that my mum would tell, but I can remember being 5, 6, and 7. You know, why I can remember being 5 is that we used to live in West Hampstead, which was in London. And we used to live on a road called Smarter Road, which was up a hill, left onto West Hampstead Lane, and down again, where we went to school. And every morning, without fail, as we walked up this hill to school, outbounding from this doorway, this dog would come running out of this doorway and actually chase my brother and I to school every morning. It was like, wow, you know, we outrun this dog. So I can remember being 5. And my father, he always knew that he wanted to have a big family. So he moved the family to Willesden. He bought this massive house in Willesden, and this house was so big that there were so many rooms in it that my brother and I could easily get lost in this house. Anyway, one of my brother and I's favorite pastimes was to actually just sit on the staircase. We had this big, huge wooden staircase. We used to just sit on this staircase, 8, 7, 8, and just sing. And what my brother and I used to like to do is harmonize. And we found it very interesting how when our notes weren't quite in tune, how there was this funny kind of resonation that the voices would make. And anyone that knows how to tune a guitar will know that when the strings of the guitar are almost in tune, it makes this kind of funny resonation. So we used to do that as young boys. Following on from that, my mother used to go to this department store on Church Road every week to buy the groceries, and my brother and I would tag along. And in the shop window of this great department store was this Boat-empty organ, fantastic organ that my brother and I fell in love with. And we remembered the story that my father told us, that if you want me to buy any instrument for you, you have to be able to play a little tune on it first. So my brother and I would go to this department store every week with Mum, sneak away to the shop window and practice on this organ. As the weeks went by, we got a little bit better, but this organ was so big that neither of us could play it on our own. So me and my brother teamed up. I played the bass notes and he played the lead notes. And a bit further on down the road, my dad came to see what we were up to at this department store. So we went to this Boat-empty organ, turned it up a little, because we wanted to sort of really impress him. And we gave this full-on concert, couple of songs in this department store, to the delight of my mum, my dad, and some of the other customers in the shop. A week later, we were so surprised to find this Boat-empty organ in our music room at home. And that was one of the best presents that 2 young boys could have ever received at Christmas.
Okay, great story. So how did you make the move then from being an amateur musician to becoming a professional singer?
I made the move to become a professional singer because, at home we had a music room and we had many instruments at home. You know, I remember my father taking us down to this famous music store in Kilburn called Blank's Music Store, where we went into this music store and it had every instrument under the sun. But my eye was drawn straight away to this red Kelly bass guitar in the window, you know. And my brother, he went for this white Fender Stratocaster. And so we went over into the shop and Mr. Blanks took these instruments down and he gave it to us and plugged it in. And, you know, we could play already because my mother had an acoustic guitar at home that we used to practice on. So we could make a little bit of a sound there. A week later, we came home. In our music room was this red Kelly bass, the white Fender Stratocaster, and a 4-foot-high speaker cabinet with a couple of 18-inch speakers in it and a beautiful, powerful valve amplifier in it as well. Me and my brother, we practiced on that every day. Sooner, my younger brother, was growing up very fast, and he used to accompany us on the armchair playing the drums, you know? He used to do this funny thing where he'd bang the side of the armchair with one hand, and he'd he'll play the snare drum on the arm of the armchair. And after a while, my father said, Frank, this is great. So he bought him a brand new drum kit from Blank's music store as well. So then the music room was complete. And the kids in the local area got to hear of our music room, and they couldn't wait to sort of come and visit us and sit in on our rehearsals. And I was in my home studio recently when I was with a friend called Patrick, who actually made a phone call to another chap called Bubblers. Now, Bubblers has turned out to be a fantastic keyboard player, and he's actually the keyboard player and producer of a band called Undivided Roots. And Undivided Roots back in the day used to back all the Jamaican artists who came to England to play their concerts. And Patrick was on the phone to Bubblers, and I said, "Is that Bubblers?" I said, "Yes, I know Bubblers." He goes, "How do you know Bubblers?" So he put Bubblers on the phone. I said, "Hello, Bubblers, it's Colin here. I'd like to say a big thank you to you for looking after my sisters and producing my sisters." He's just, by the way, produced a single for my sisters who are in a group called Nubian Queens. And he said, "Yeah, I know Colin." So I handed the phone back to Patrick, and Patrick said to Bubblers, "Is Colin a good guy?" He said, "Is Colin a good guy?" Let me tell you, Colin and his family were the foundation of music in Northwest 10. In fact, Bubblers used to come to my house to sit in on those rehearsals while my brother played the bass. I played the bass, my brother played the guitar, and my other brother played the drums. And Bubblers used to play the Bo Tempty organ with us. And he learned from coming to us back in that day there. And this music room probably went on for about 10 years. 10 years. And then as I progressed, I sort of made a little music studio in my bedroom, and I started to write songs and try and become a singer. And there's a saying that is, if you practice that one thing for 10,000 hours, you can master it. So I practiced and I practiced. And one day I was writing a song called, it's called My Destiny, actually. And my sister banged on the door of my music studio in my room. And she said, Colin, there's this competition on the radio, and they're looking for singers to sing on the radio live, and you got to sing it because there's a big prize at the end of it. I said, "Okay, Barbara, okay, I'll give it a shot." So I phoned up the station, which was Choice FM.
Yeah.
The presenter was Commander B.
Yeah.
And he was having a show called the Commander B Talent Quest.
Okay.
So I phoned up and I said, "Hi, Commander B, it's Mr. C here," because I used to call myself Mr. D back in them times. And Commander B said to me, "Hi, Mr. C, we got Shaka Demus and Spanner Banner in the studios here, and we'd love to hear what you're going to do for us today on our talent quest." I said, "Well, actually, Commander B, I'm going to sing you a song that I've written myself." He goes, "Oh, that'd be interesting." So I had the track already ready in my studio. So I pressed play on the machine and put the phone close to the speaker, and I sung my song My Destiny down the line. And usually on the talent quest, after about 30 seconds, if it's not happening, Commander B would press the buzzer and throw you off, And I managed to sing the whole song the whole way through. And at the end of singing the song, the lines went quiet. I thought, I've been cut off. But I wasn't cut off. There's a big round of applause. Commander B said, "This is fantastic. Thank you so much." Shaka Demus, who was in the studio, said, "You sound like a young Maxi Priest." I said, "Well, thank you very much." Back to Commander B, he said, "This is a song that I would love to play on our station." I said, "Really? Thank you, Commander B." And with that, after I hung up the phone, my family went crazy in my little studio. And my brother and I, Spinks, went, "Bing! We have an idea. Let's go to a professional recording studio and record the song." So we saved up what little money we had, went to a studio in Park Royal, recorded the single, pressed it, got it onto a record, and went down to Choice FM and left it in Commander B's pigeonhole. And a week later, the song was playing on Choice FM, regular.
Right.
Daddy Ernie picked it up. All the DJs are playing it. And then the song got playlisted on Kiss FM. And before I knew it, it got playlisted on Capital Radio as well.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into be a, it's kind of a professional musician.
Yeah. Serious business. So having done all that, how did a career in the London West End theatre come about, even though you were having this success with your music?
I was having a success with my music, but what happened is that a manager sort of came along and really messed up my progress. And I was reading the other day that even Coldplay are doing a 10 million liabilities, trying to sue their manager to get some money. So the manager really wasn't happening. And so at the same time I was doing Amdram Theatre, and basically I got chosen by a casting director to be in the 25-year revival of Hair, which I auditioned for and I got. And that's how I sort of transitioned into the West End. I thought the music's not really paying me, so I chose a career in theatre, and that's how I changed from music into theatre.
Okay. So what West End shows have you been in, and which one was really your favourite?
I've been in many West End shows, which you mentioned earlier, but one of my favourite shows was a show called Five Guys Named Moe.
Okay.
And Five Guys Named Moe was directed by Charles Augins and choreographed by Charles Augins. And Charles Augins is this American dude, and he's very, and he's famous for doing this advert on TV called "I'd Love a Baby Share." I don't know if you heard that advert. Yeah, that's Charles Augins. It was written by Clark Peters, great actor who is stars in The Wire, and it was produced by Sir Cameron Mackintosh, who's produced many shows like Cats, Phantom of the Opera, and Ain't Misbehaving. And Five Guys Named was my favourite show because I got to learn how to sing, dance, and learn so much about my craft.
Okay, great. So being in the business and starring in so many West End shows, you must have a few stories. Are there any, or is there any one thing that really stands out as a defining moment in your career?
Wow, there's many defining moments in my career, but I'll go to a story that happened to me in 2012 when I was singing on board a cruise ship called the Azamara Quest. A 6-star luxury cruise liner, probably had about 2,000 passengers on board. And one evening, must have been about 7 o'clock, I was in the shower getting ready for dinner, and the captain sounded the distress signal, which is 7 short blasts and 1 long blast on the siren. And this means abandon ship.
Serious.
I thought this was a drill. But as I came out of the shower, I realized that the lights in the cabin had gone dim and we were on emergency lighting. So I quickly got my shorts on, which I put on backwards, got my clothes on and grabbed my life jacket and my bandana. And I made my way to the muster station. And it transpired that this ship had caught fire in the middle of the Philippine Ocean. One of the engines had caught fire. And we were sitting in our muster stations for over an hour waiting to be rescued or jump into our lifeboats. And when an announcement came over the tannoy that the magnificent crew had managed to contain the fire on the ship, that was the good news. The bad news was that because there was no power, all the lights, no fridges had been cut off, and we couldn't sleep in our cabins because it was far too hot to sleep in our cabins. We were in pirate-infested waters as well, in the middle of the Philippine Ocean, believe me. And we were sitting in our muster stations for so long because there was one crew member that was missing, because when you go to your muster station, it's like a tick off the register to sort of see who's there and who's not. There was one passenger that was missing, who was a waiter, who had gone into the lift to get some produce to take back up to the restaurant. And when the power went off, the lifts cut off and he was stuck in the lift and he was getting overcome by smoke. So he, like, a character out of James Bond, he opened up the hatch of the lift and he tried to climb out of this lift. He got halfway up and he was overcome by smoke, fell back down onto the lift. He couldn't find him for hours. And it wasn't until they used heat sinking equipment to find this guy that they took him to the safety of the ship's hospital. That was one of the defining moments for me, because at that time I found that everybody, it didn't matter how rich you were, how poor you were, if you were first class, second class, everybody was in the same boat. Nobody was better than anybody else, and we all had to sleep on the main deck. And that experience inspired me to write this song called Make a Brighter Day, which you'll play for your listeners probably another time.
Yeah, excellent. So as we come near the end, what are you up to now? And maybe you could give our listeners a rendition of a song that has played, a major part in your journey.
I'm very wary of time, and what I do is I've written a play about one of my heroes and one of my mum's heroes. His name's Mr. Nat King Cole.
Right.
Nat King Cole was one of the first African Americans to have his own television show, and he was the first to have his own radio show as well. And he paved the way for a lot of artists to achieve what they have achieved. And I've written a play around that, which I'm planning to bring out over Christmas. And I'd like to sing you a song from the musical.
Great, thank you.
I'll stand up for this. I'll sit down for this. It's okay. I'll sit down. Here we go. I got Linda adjusting the camera. It's okay, Lynn. Got my assistant adjusting the camera here. Thank you so much. Thank you. I want everybody just to keep swaying in those seats just like this. Just pretend you're on a cruise. You've had too much booze and you got nothing to lose as the track comes in. Let there be you, let there be me, let there be oysters under the sea, let there be wind and occasional rain, chili con carne, sparkling champagne. Let there be birds to sing in the trees, someone to bless me whenever I sneeze. Let there be cuckoos, a lark and a dove, but first of all, please, let there be love. Keep swinging those seats at home. Let there be cuckoos, a lark and a dove, but most of all, please, let there be love. Oh, love, love. Let there be love. I'd like to sing you one more song, and this song was very popular with the Windrush generation and was a favorite in my house. My mum and dad absolutely loved it. It's by Mr. Fats Domino. I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill, on Blueberry Hill, where I found you. The moon stood still on Blueberry Hill.
hill. It lingered until my dreams came true. The wind in the willow plain, love's sweet melody. But all of those vows we made were never to be. Though we're apart, you're part of me still. For you are my thrill on Blueberry Hill. The wind in the willow plain, love's sweet melody. But all of those vows we made were never to be. Though we're apart, you're part of me still. For you are my thrill on Blueberry Hill.
Great.
Oh, is that really okay?
Great. If we had more time, I'm sure the audience would be standing up and encore, more.
For maybe another time.
Yeah, definitely next time. I think you should be a regular. Brilliant work. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
So, Colin, if people want to get in touch with you, follow you, how do they find you?
They can simply go to my website, colinroyonline.com, and all my social media is on there. Simple, colinroyonline.com.
Great. Very simple indeed. colinroyonline.com. And it's been a pleasure to meet you. And we will definitely stay in touch. And all the best for whatever you're going to do next.
Thank you so much, Rudy. It's been a real pleasure as well. Thank you.
Actually, before you go, saying that, what are you going to do next?
I just love providing entertainment with my band through my company, Colin Roy Entertainment. I have a couple of brand new projects that I will tell you about very soon. I'm producing new music and helping up-and-coming artists, including my sister's group, the Nubian Queens. And I plan also to tour my Nat King Cole show next year.
All right, we will certainly share that. So thank you very much, Colin.
Thank you so much, Rudy.
Take care.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you.